Hello everyone, welcome to my May perfume tray. Yes, it's finally spring here, and here are some of my favorites for the spring months. Now we're going to start at the back with Lalique Amethyst in the purple bottle. And then we have the big tall bottle of Calvin Klein Into You. Beside that is Coty Lema. Now that is a true vintage. That's from the 1960s. And I used that one when I was a teenager. Beside that one with the white cap is another vintage. It's Dior Essence by Christian Dior. And the big blue bottle is Britney Spears Circus. And then you can see with the gold cap, Prada Infusion Diaris. And then we have Lily of the Valley, of course, for spring by Demeter. And then we have a light spray of Shalimar, Eau de Shalimar. And in the front, another Guerlain. And this one is Mon Guerlain. And beside that, of course, is Pacifica French Lilac. So those are some of my favorites for spring, and I'll certainly be looking forward to using every one of those and talking to you about them in more detail. It's finally come to Ontario, Canada, which is where I am. It has been such a long winter. The temperature today is 11 degrees Celsius, which for my friends in the US is 51 degrees Fahrenheit. And I just bought this yesterday at Northern Reflections, this colorful top, and I just thought that I would wear it today because I'm in a spring mood. Again, my name is Lorraine, and I welcome you. And today, I just want to chat a little bit about some of the old sayings that have been with us, some of them for probably hundreds of years. And are these sayings really true? But before we get into that, I would like to share with you my scent of the day, SOTD, which is Trésor by Lancôme. And this is a warm floral oriental that was released in 1990. Now, it has notes of peach, rose, apricot, so it's very fruity as well as flowery. It has lilac, pineapple, lily of the valley, jasmine, vanilla, sandalwood, and musk. And in Fragrantica, they stated that Trésor is a treasure among perfume creations and is one of the best-selling and popular fragrances in the world. I find it a little pungent because of all those notes of fruits and flowers, but it is a lovely, unique fragrance, and it's my SOTD. I got these sayings from a list that was on a website. It's a blog by Eric Barker, and the name of the blog is Barking Up the Wrong Tree. And I will put the link down below for you to access what he has to say, because he has some interesting things to say. And I took some of these sayings from his list, and he has an opinion on them, and I have an opinion too. So we're going to go through those, and then I'm also going to add some of my own that I have found to be true during my lifetime. So let's get started with early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's interesting how it says makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, because obviously this is an old saying. Today we would say it makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. And is that saying really true? Well, I'm not sure about that. Eric says that morning people are more proactive and are happier, but night owls are smarter. I'm not sure there's a rigid interpretation of that saying. We all have our circadian rhythm. This is the thing. So some of us are sharper in the morning, and some of us are more energetic and brighter in the evening. So I'll just let that one go at that. The next one is money can't buy happiness. I think that if your basic needs are not met, like food, clothing, and shelter, and basic things, money can certainly buy the happiness that you have when you have your basic needs met. Let's face it. I mean, but at a certain point, if you do have your basic needs all accounted for, Money can certainly make you happier, but there's no guarantee. For example, if you have an illness or even a terminal illness, or you have a chronic pain situation going on, money will not bring you happiness or any more happiness. One can learn to live with those things, of course, in a spirit of acceptance, but money probably won't really add to your happiness in that situation. However, if you have a lot of money and you use it for a good purpose, or you give it to other people, that can bring you happiness. And I have an example from my own life, actually. About 10 years ago, I had a windfall of money come my way, and it was around Christmas time. So I decided to give each of my three children, as a Christmas gift, a check for $1,000. So I put a check in a Christmas card for each of them, and that was one of their presents under the tree on Christmas Eve. Well, the surprise and the look on their faces, I will never forget. That was one of the happiest moments of my life. They were so shocked and surprised and appreciative, and it was to get that much money from their mother was just unheard of. So I will never forget that, and that is such a warm, wonderful memory for me. Another saying, of course, is count your blessings. I think that we all know that. Eric says about that one that counting your blessings is one of the most scientifically validated ways to increase happiness. And of course, we all know the benefits of sitting down and writing a gratitude list every morning or every evening. And sometimes before I go to sleep at night, I'll go throughout the day in my mind, in my memory, about things that happened during the day and the wonderful things and people and events that happened that day for which I am grateful. So yes, I do think that counting your blessings does bring happiness. Another one is cleanliness is next to godliness. And I think that's kind of true. I think if we keep ourselves clean and organized and neat, and that includes putting on a little bit of makeup, doing our hair every day, I think that that makes us feel a little more secure, a little better about ourselves. Our self-esteem goes up a notch. And because when things are messy around you, you don't feel so good. I don't anyway. I just don't feel quite so organized, and I just don't feel as good as when things are more tidy and neat around me and my surroundings. So I like that one. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And then Eric mentions the woman in red. And indeed, women who are wearing red are more attractive, and certainly they are more noticeable. If you have a room full of people and you have a woman wearing a red dress, she will be noticed, that's for sure. And I think just the confidence that it takes to wear a red dress adds to a woman's attractiveness. Older and wiser. Well, yes, indeed. I think that as we get older, we have the potential to be wiser. I think not old people are automatically wiser, but in those years that we've been alive, we have the opportunity to learn a whole lot of lessons and to even pass on those lessons to people who want to hear us. Not everybody would want to hear us, but young people or our grandchildren or our nieces and nephews, young people that are around us, we have the opportunity to share some of our experiences and some of the outcomes that we've experienced that might help them in their decisions. Another expression is crazy in love. Well, I do think that we lose our judgment a little bit when we're in love, and I think I've experienced that a couple of times in my life, that maybe we don't make the best decisions. Our logic isn't quite the same. So I think there is a little bit of craziness in being in love. Another expression is to be yourself. And yes, be yourself, but be your best self. Just I always tell my children, don't do or say things that are going to make you feel bad about yourself. Do and say things that are going to make you feel good about yourself. And again, even I'll add another saying there, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's a good measuring stick. If you're about to do or say something or go somewhere and you're not quite right. You just don't know if it's the right thing for another person. And you think, would I want that in my life? That's a good measuring stick. Clothes make the man or dress for success. And I think that's really true. I think if you're dressed well and you're stylishly dressed and your clothes fit well and your shoes are polished and your heels are, are a good height for you and you can walk comfortably, and I think automatically you feel better about yourself and you have more confidence. So absolutely. And then when you have more confidence, you attract success, whether it be in a job or whether it be in a social situation or making a legal or decision of some kind. You'll be successful if you feel that you look your best. The final one that Eric mentioned that really resonated with me was, don't give in to peer pressure. I think, and he said actually, and I agree with him, more often than not, kids are pressured into good things, into making good decisions rather than bad decisions. And I think we forget that. We're always very nervous about children, especially teenagers, making the wrong decision and being in a bad gang that are pressuring them to make wrong decisions. But more often than not, they're in a good group of people who are pressuring them to make the right decision. So I think we have to have confidence in our young people. We have to expect good things from them. The next one Eric mentions is sleep on it. And yes, indeed, I find that sleeping on a decision is very, very helpful. And you know what? That happens when I'm on the Amazon website. Oh boy, that cart gets filled up pretty darn quickly. And so sometimes I think, you know what? I'm not going to push the button on that one until tomorrow, until I sleep on it. Do I really need that item? Can I really afford it? Do I really even want it? And so, but any kind of decision, if you sleep on it, you might look at things differently in the morning. So that's a good one. The next one is home cooking tastes better. There's no doubt about that. I think that there's just nothing that beats home cooking. And that applies especially to home baking. A lot of the baked goods at the grocery store and everything, they're just filled with sugars and trans fats and just not good things, not the best quality oils and this type of thing. So for me, it's not even worth the calories unless I bake it myself or unless it's home baked by somebody else. There's nothing that beats home baking. So that's a good one for sure. Flattery will get you nowhere. Well, Eric says that that's wrong, that in fact, flattery can get you somewhere. People are very susceptible to compliments and flattery. And, I think when people do that to us, we have to sort of be careful and not be convinced or talked into doing or thinking or saying something that we really don't want to do, that does not really reflect who we really are. So flattery will get you somewhere if you let it. So you have to be cautious about that one. I need my beauty sleep, and that is for sure true. In North America, we are notorious for not getting enough sleep. Now, for many years in my life, when I was bringing up my children, I usually got between 6 and 7 hours of sleep a night. Now I get more like 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I really love my sleep. There are periods where I'm not able to sleep as well as I can, but most of the time I sleep pretty well during the night. And it does cause us to be healthier. It causes us to look better. We're brighter. We're sharper in our decision making and in our activities. So yes, I think enough sleep is really important. The next three are sayings that I have found to be really true in my own life. The first one is, well, first of all, let me tell you that I went to a Catholic high school, and they would always be encouraging us to do an examination of conscience before we got ready to go to confession, right? And I found that that is a really good idea. It's not a bad thing at the end of the day to sit quietly and think, how was my day? Could I have done better? Could I have done more? Could I have said things differently? And I think it's a humbling experience. I think it's good for us because it helps us to grow and it helps us to change for the better. And we can all improve. Nobody is perfect, that's for sure. We never reach the pinnacle of perfection. We can always be better and be kinder and be more thoughtful. So it's a good practice. And I don't remember to do that every day, I have to admit, but I think it's a good practice. Another thing that I have found to be true is to follow your gut. If you are not comfortable with a certain person, or if you're not comfortable going somewhere, or if you're at a place and you're just not feeling right in that place, follow your gut and leave the person, leave the situation, change something so that you feel more comfortable and more secure. You may not have a logical reason for your decision. You may be looking for something, but there's just that little feeling inside, and I do think it's important to follow that. And that's being true to yourself and true to your intuition. Trust your intuition. It's very powerful. And the final thought that I will leave with you is we don't know what people are dealing with, you know. If we're teasing somebody or if we're making demands on somebody or just being a little sharp or just expecting too much from somebody and we're disappointed in people, you know, just step back and just think, you know, I don't know what that person is dealing with. We don't know if they've had a loss. We don't know if they've had bad news from the doctor. We just don't know. So I'm not saying that, you know, we have to tiptoe around people, but just always be sensitive and know that they are dealing with something, as we are always dealing with something. Again, I'll go back to that saying, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So I'll just leave you with these thoughts today. I would love to know if there's any sayings that are a big part of your life that you grew up with or that you have an opinion about, and I'd love to hear about that. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.